Welcome back to another week of the 13 Sports Coaches Show. I'm Katie Marr. This week, joined by Seaman boys basketball coach Craig Cox. Coach, thanks for joining me this week.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, well, it's a fun time to be talking about high school basketball because we are nearing the end of the regular season. You're gearing up for sub-state in just about a week or two. Just what's your overall take on how your team has done so far this season?
So far, it's been a really good year for us. We're sitting at 12-4 right now. Have feel like there were a couple games that we should have won, but then there's always a couple others that things went our way and we were able to get the victory. So I think it all kind of evens itself out in the end, and so we're just looking forward to this last push here in these next really 8 days to find out where we're going to fit in for the sub-state seedings.
Yeah, and this is a team that, in close recent years has experienced a ton of success in the postseason, winning championships. Does this team, do you think they know what it takes to buy into that culture of winning championships?
I think so. I think we have a lot of guys that have been successful in other sports. We also have guys that are pretty dedicated to basketball as their primary sport. So it's a good blend, and it's a group of guys that have really good chemistry. I think they enjoy coming to practice. They enjoy being around each other, and that really makes a huge difference. It seems like something that you would just expect to happen, but it's not always the case. So, no jealousy, no animosity, just a bunch of really good guys that um, do a lot of things well for us. Um, Being on time is a simple thing, but it definitely helps. And supporting each other and being good teammates and being good students and good citizens. All those things really make have made this season enjoyable.
Yeah, and you don't play in an easy league. The UKC is tough. Just what's your take on how the competition has been this year in league play?
It has been good. The teams at the top being Piper and Shawnee Heights and Topeka West and Baser and DeSoto is always right there. Those are going to be tough games night in, night out. But the other teams, Lansing is very well coached, and if you're not ready to play, they'll step up and challenge. And Leavenworth and Turner have struggled this year, but all in all, it's a really good league, and will prepare all of our teams for postseason play.
Yeah, now that you've been in the league for a while, what have you learned about what it takes to be successful in the UKC year after year?
I think the first thing is that the league is stacked with coaches that have won state championships. From Ken Darting to Steve Wallace to Mike McBride at Baser. Um, Matt Rice at DeSoto is a very good coach, has been in the state tournament the last few years. So you've got to be ready because all of those guys are veteran coaches with a lot of wins under their belt, and their teams are going to do things the right way, and they're not going to beat themselves. So you've got to be ready to play in order to compete with all of those kind of teams.
Yeah, and you've got quite a few playmakers in your starting lineup, just Kayvon Bonner and Briar Finley to name a few. Just how do you look at your star players this season and how they've performed?
The biggest difference for us between last year and this year was at Christmas break last year. We'd only played 4 games, and Breyer went out with a fracture in his back. It had been a stress fracture, and then it just finally got bad enough that he had to shut down. And so we struggled, but some other players like Landon Wiltz got to step in and get more playing time, which has helped him be a contributor. Obviously, Kayvon starting for all 3 years for us now as a junior, as a tremendous talent. And so with Briar and Kayvon, we have a 1-2 punch, and then the other guys are figuring out their roles and how they can contribute, and so it's come together really nice.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you have a team as talented as the one that you have now, it's common that they're all seniors, and sometimes it feels like you got to do something this year because you're not going to have that those veterans returning next year. But you have a guy like Kayvon who's only a junior. How much of a confidence boost is it knowing that you have someone like that who's not just leaving this year?
Definitely nice. And obviously, we're hoping that we can finish the season the right way for Breyer and our two other seniors, Dalton Smith and Blake Toyne. Dalton starts for us and has uh, just kind of played that role that is needed as far as being physical and rebounding, and really does a nice job moving without the ball. So he'll get some easy baskets. And Blake's battled injuries all year. He started with a broken wrist and from soccer, and then he had an ankle injury. So we're kind of hoping he has a good finish for his senior year because it has been a rough one for him injury wise. So we want those three to do well. We know we're going to miss everything that Breyer's done, but really like our juniors with Kayvon and Landon and Matthew McConaughey and Griffin Zuniga, Cameron Bryan. Uh, I think that's all of them. And we have some good sophomores. So really like the future for our program, and excited about finishing this year, hopefully strong, and being able to be competitive in the UKC again next year.
Yeah, I gotta say, it is funny every time we cover one of your games and see in the highlights that we're reading that Matthew McConaughey scored a bucket. We always take a double take. It's always kind of funny. Kid's got a good name.
Yeah.
Um, but recently, you guys, a few games ago, came off a big win over Shawnee Heights. You're in Topeka, city rival, 68 to 66. How much of a can that? How much does that kind of fire up your team?
It definitely was a big boost. And the reason why is because we know how good Shawnee Heights is, and they've had a great season thus far. It was nice, kind of brought back some Centennial League memories from the standpoint of the gym was packed, the crowd was energetic. It was just exciting. And that's one of the things the UKC being a brand new conference, only 3 years old, those rivalries are developing, but still, it's not the same as when we play Shawnee Heights or we play Topeka West in a UKC game. Those are going to be things that people around the city can. A lot of my friends uh, came to the Shawnee Heights game, and that'd be the only reason why was because they knew Heights was good and wanted to see if we could compete with them. So it was fun. The unfortunate thing is the weather has not cooperated, so we have not played since that game. Uh, we do play Baser tonight, and then we have 3 games next week with Leavenworth, Piper, and Shawnee Heights.
Yeah, ending the regular season against your rival. Do you think that can be a good like send off into sub-state?
I think it can be for us. We're fortunate, as weird as it sounds, that we're in the west of 5A. Highland Park is the easternmost school going to the east, and we are the western, I guess you'd say it, however that would work
Western
directionally.
Kansas and Topeka.
Yeah. Um, so to play those top teams in the East right before sub-state will be good. And then we'll find out where we get matched up, where we fit in the standings after next week, because there's quite a few schools that are in that 4 through 8, and we could be in any one of those spots.
Yeah. Do you tell your guys that seedings matter, or is it just everyone kind of starts over in the postseason clean slate?
Yeah, I think, the goal is to be in one of those top 4 spots, so you get to play both games at home. That's kind of what we've pointed to. Right now, we're sitting in fourth, but with the games that we have remaining, that could easily change if we're not successful. So it will be a fresh start when we get there. In 2022, we went in as the 9 seed in the West and had to go to Mays South, and then had to go to number 1 Hayes, and then made it to state and played number 1 Capon, and then Mays, the defending champs, and then DeSoto in the finals. So it can happen for anybody, no matter where you're at. and that's why it's neat that almost everybody gets in. I wish we had a system where all schools got in. I don't like the 17 and 18th teams on each side being left out, but that's not my call.
Yeah. Do you think it's like kind of a whoever gets hot at the right time type thing? And is this the right time to start heating up and getting hot?
Definitely, and that's why we were kind of frustrated. We knew after Shawnee Heights that we were going to have a week off, and then with the Piper game having to be rescheduled because of the weather, it we thought we were going to play them on Thursday, but then they didn't have school Thursday, so now it's backed up to next Wednesday. It's going to be interesting to see how we respond in this game against Baser because we haven't played a game in 10 days. So uh, we'll just have to hope for the best.
Yeah, and we have around the station, we've actually been saying Seaman has not had a Friday night home game in like so long. We've been itching to get you guys on Kansas
Uh,
Prep Zone on Friday
yeah,
nights.
yep.
Finally, you guys are back home. Is there excitement around the team being able to play a Friday night game on their home court?
I think so. And then again, that's a weather situation. We have parent teacher conferences this week. So our students knew they were going to be out Thursday and Friday anyway. Well, then they got Tuesday and Wednesday off. We're supposed to be having or we are having our snowball ceremony and all of the things that go with that spirit week and all the activities and everything that build up to the big game on Friday night have been snowed out. So, or frozen out. So kind of missed out on that, but we're getting to play, so we're happy about that.
Yeah. And not only is the boys team really good this year, so is the girls team coming off a state championship. Just how cool is it to have both teams be so dominant right now, kind of just be known as a basketball school for both
Yeah.
male and female?
Yeah, our girls are outstanding, and I have an almost well, I'd say half the team probably in my classes, and so I get to know them, and they like to give our guys a hard time, and give that little reminder that we've got this winning streak going, and we're the defending state champs, and all those kind of things, and I think they use it as motivation for themselves that hey, we're going to put it out there that you got to beat us. And so, really good girls and a lot of talent. And Coach Tinsley does a great job with those girls to keep them motivated because so many of their games, they're just not close. They have big leads, and to be able to keep them as sharp as they are night in and night out is a credit to all of the coaches, Coach Tinsley and his entire staff.
Yeah, and I'll end it with one final question talking about postseason runs. Are you confident that this is a team that can do something special? And do you think the team is confident as well?
Oh, I think so. I think so. And we won't know until we find out where we actually are at and who we're going to play, what that challenge is going to look like. If it happened today, um, we would be fourth and Topeka West would be fifth. And we split with them in the regular season, but we played them early. So Coach Olsaker's done a great job with them in his first year as head coach over at West. And so whoever gets matched up with them is going to have their hands full for sure. So we'll just have to see if it's us or somebody else.